Mesechta Menochos, Daf Yud Aleph Amar Aleph. We're starting from the last line on Yud Amid Beis. Okay, we're starting from the word Kamatz ve'ola ve'yadei. We're waiting for Stephen, but okay. Sweet. Okay, Tzvi is here. Okay, we're ready. Kamatz ve'ola ve'yadei. If he made a kmitza in his hand, Avram. Kamatz. If he made a kmitza and in his hand was a tzroy, a pebble, or a grain of salt. Okay, now that's taking part of the place where the kmitza belongs. Or levana, or I don't know what you call a piece of levana, a piece of spice. It's possible because in the place of the kmitza has to be only flour, and he has either a stone in it, or he has a grain of salt. I don't know where he got a stone. I don't know where he got it from. Maybe there was a stone fell in it, and somebody dropped it in the mincha. It could be, yeah. So he says, "Kohani Lamelin, what do you have to give me? 3 cases: a stone, a pebble. I'm sorry, a pebble, salt, and then a spice." He says, "You want to say I need all of them? If I would have only learned pebble, a stone, mishum delab basakrabi, a stone is mechal, not part of the carbon." So that's why I say it's possible. Avamelach, the bars hakrabi, but salt. If you make the kmitza, then you have to sprinkle some salt, and you put the levena. Yeah, but for Hashem, you can't put a carbon without salt. Eimet is kasha. So I would have thought, maybe it's kasha because the salt was in it, even though it's not supposed to be in it, but on top, and it was in it. So therefore, it's taking space from where the flour is supposed to be. But since anyway you're going to be makir, maybe you could add it. And if I only would have learned salt, by the salt, you don't put the salt in the beginning. Only at the end, after the kibbutz, do you put salt. But in the pot where the flour is, there's no salt. Right? Mashein came by Levina. Here he says, I don't know why this is not the Gemara. He says in the dark words, you don't do the melicha only after there's a kmitza. But before the kmitza, in the pot where the holy son flour was, there was no salt. It's only after you did the kmitza, then you poured salt on it. Yeah, it's very good. So you understood what he said. Just like when you make hametzi, you have to after the hametzi you put it in there. But levina, that's part of the mixture. It's on the bottom. Just later on, when you make the kmitza, it says you should put the levina on the side. You move it to the side. So I would say, that was part of the whole ingredients. So maybe if the kmitza has a little piece of the potatoes in it, it should be fine. No, so if the spice in it, it's no good. In the Mishnah it says that the Tan explains why is it possible to kaimetz, because it became less than the shear, or it's more than a shear. In fact, my area, why are you reading it? Because it's missing or it's more. Say if it has a stone. So the stone is mafsik between the hand and the flour, or in the flour, it's separating like into 2 pieces. That's what Rashi brings both pshatim. So tzachatzitza. So when it means it's on the side. On the side, it's not a chatzitza. It's not splitting the dough in 2. It's on the side. So if it's on the side, everything is fine. So that's why we have to say only if it's part of it, it's making it miss from the kmitza. So that's why it's going to be possible. So how does one do a kmitza? Just like a person sticks up all his hands, he makes a scoop with his all 5 fingers. It says the pinky is the midas of zeres. Zeres is between the pinky and the thumb. That was the size of the choshen. The plate was this size from here to here, and this way also. The width and zeres al gabi zeres. So it was a zeres al zeres. Okay, zu, the finger next to the kmitza, I'm saying next to the zeres was the kmitza. That's the first finger that you use for the kmitza. Right next to the pinky. This is the beginning for the kmitza. Zu, the middle finger. He said the middle finger is the amma, because when you want to measure amma for the 2 sticks that were there, he brings down shtei maklois. That was there were for the tzarchid bedek abayis over there. So how did they measure amma? The amma was from here till here, till the elbow. That's amma. Zu. Now the ring finger, where they say Harei at Mekadeshes Liyamir Hashem, you're going to put it on the woman on this finger, the finger, the right hand if she's a righty. Etzba. So I don't know. So he says etzba. What is that for? Zu. The etzba was for to spray the dam on the mizbeach. That's what they use the finger. Now the thumb, the grubber finger that you always do. Yeah. Zu godol. That's for mitzvah. That when they put the blood on the boy and yard. Yeah, but what we're talking about now in the hand, the godol. What was that for? That was for the boy and yada, the big finger, that's the thumb, and the toe. Of course, nuchaisan also.
Yeah. So you say every finger
is a mitzvah, is used for something.
For something else.
Yeah. So says the Gemara. So that's what the Braisa says, right? So the etzma. So you see, which one was for the kmitza? The one next to the zeres. This the zeres. So, but we said the normal kmitza is the whole hand, and here you're saying it's only from here. You're starting from the finger next to the zeres.
You divide all the fingers.
Yes, yeah, but the problem is, you said before kmitza is all, and now it comes out the kmitza starts from here.
So what do you use that zeres then for?
Zeres, we said it's for from here to here for the size of the chishon. Zeres, al
It
zeres.
doesn't have individual use. Each finger you said has an
Yeah,
individual
but that
use.
was from where you measured, from the pinky. He says. Says Gemara Allah, used all 5 fingers, but in which way? The kmitza was talking these 3 fingers, and lahashveis he used the pinky to smoothen out what was sticking out. Yeah, and the thumb this way and the pinky this way. Okay, fact you want to heichi of it. Okay, claim it's malu yad kedei shelo yehi chasa. Then you wipe it down with the pinky that it shouldn't stick out. How did he do it? This scooping, he did with 3 fingers. Till he reached to the bottom of the hand. You remember yesterday we said you can't do like this. A kmitza has to be a full kmitza till the end of the hand. Okay?
Slip out. In other words, because when he bears his fingers, he's able to.
He has to have that much. You can't have like this.
But he has to close his fingers.
Yeah, you have to hold on to it. Yeah.
Just have a big hand also.
Yeah, if you have a Blasovsky's hand, it's a big kmitza, man. Okay. Zog the Yomara, Tanya Nabihachi. Okay, Achmagi Apasi. The way Kmitza makes a kmitza. Tanya Nabihachi, we learned similarly in the Braisa, it says Meloi Kumtzei. So Yochel, I would have thought, Oi, Meloi means it has to be so full. Meveritz, that it should overflow, it should come out from the sides. Talmud comes the pasuk says big kumtzei. No, it has to be in the 3 fingers. It cannot be overflowing out. And big kumtzei, if the Torah would only say big kumtzei, only in the 3 fingers. I would have thought, okay, he can do this much. He doesn't have to do a fuller. So that's why Talmud Melei kumtzei has to be a full kmitza. Okay, so how do you do that? First he gets these fingers down, he makes a full thing. He does the kmitza. And when it comes to the ones that he makes the kmitza on dry, if it's baked, so it's now you have to make a kmitza, it's a brekel already. Here we're not talking about from dough. By machas macheshes, when do you make the kmitza if it's baked already? So you have to break it into pieces. Moichik, begudloi. He wipes it with this milamilo, betzbayi, and with the zeres katana milamata. He wipes on the bottom.
So do you ever like a kmitza from raw sideless?
Yeah, a regular minchas sideless is that way, but minchas machvas and macheshes is the only 2 differently.
Also, there's different kind of.
Yeah, there's 5. Yeah. Zui aveda kosher shel migdash. Says this is a very hard aveda in the migdash. We had this Gemara before. It says Gemara Zahu. This is the only one. Vasulai, there's no more. Well, you come Malika. There's Malika.
We had this commercial.
Yeah, we had it before. Let me see if he brings it down over here. 28. I'll tell you in a second. 28. Oop.
We're in Zvachim, no?
Yeah, for sure. But I'll tell you where Zvachim Samach Dalam and base. So anyway, so there he brings more cases. But here he's going to bring Malika. Do 2 sheetas Malika. If he had to do Malika with one hand, hold the neck, bend over the neck, and then do it with the thumb. Or even to do it with 2 hands, it was a hard Aveda. You had to have strong fingers.
It had to be a strong coin.
Strong coin, yeah. And then chafina, you remember chafina is how do you do the scoop? You have to be able to turn over the cup of the flour and catch it in your hands, and nothing should drip. So how did they have it? They had it 1 shot. I remember you might have said 2 shot. One shot.
When's the chafina? When?
The chafina is a scooping, right? So there was a scooping. It was done with a spoon. They filled up. They had a stick with let's say a cup at the end. Right? Like a spoon. He held it in his mouth, and he would turn it over. He would have to turn it over, and to have the cup that was filled with flour have to fall into his 2 hands. He had to keep like a stick with the cup filled with flour and turn it over. It should fall into the hands, or have it here.
And then when does he make the kmitza?
He catches it in his hands, and nothing's allowed to fall.
And then he makes kmitza?
He had a stick in his mouth, and he turned with the mouth and that's how he turned the cup.
So is it active? These like magicians?
Yeah, well, here, I told you the story when a guy was looking for a job. The guy told him, "Come, turn the pedal with 1 foot." And he says, "No, it's too easy." He says, "Come back. See, the second pedal, turn with both feet." Okay. He says, "No, I want to work." He says, "No problem. You see the pipe in the wall? While you're turning the 2 feet and the 2 hands, blow into the pipe in the wall." He says, "What are you going to tell me tomorrow? I should turn with both feet, turn with both hands, blow into the wall, and stick a broom in my jacket and sweep the floor too." So he's saying over here, but it was a very hard Aveda to. So he says there are 2.
What does he make the chavina from?
Chafina, he takes a cup full of flour. And then he puts the cup. He takes it out of the mincha. He takes a cup full of flour and he turns it into his hand, right? And then he drops it on the mizbeach. Okay, says Gemara Elazuhi. Oh, maybe he says over here. Let me see. He had to get the ketores. It wasn't flour, ketores, and he would put it into a cup. There's kaf hakteres
We
b'smoile.
weren't talking about flour. We're talking about
Ketores, yeah. And he had to drop the ketores with his full hand from the cup into his hand and drop it on the thing. Okay, Zakti Mother. What does it mean? There were 2 other hard avodas, Malika and Chafina. Says the Gemara, he asked this was one of the hard avodas, one between the hard avodas that were in the Beis Hamikdash. Doesn't mean this was the only one. So the Gemara, Papa said, "Pshitali meloi kumzei k'dekamtzei." What is a regular kimitza? Like a person does. He does a full scoop. Okay. So Papa is the kasha b'rasha it's beisav. What's if he did just with the tip of his fingers, right? He didn't do a full scooping, he did a little at a time. He says, "Im hichten says pas yade klappe mata, bechefes beitze at pas yade eifen shasage besech hayat kaimet." So he put it in with the tip of his fingers. Usually the kmitza is also done like this. He puts in his hand, and then he does the kmitza. Here he stuck his fingers like this, and he did like this. Or we don't know what's the din. How about minat tzadin? Here he doesn't learn. Rashi learns tzadin means he stuck his hand. Usually you do it this way, right? He stuck his hand. His hand is facing upward, and he pushes his hand down, and the flour falls in, and then he does the kmitza. So that's one. And then he is, how about Mimata Lamaila? He goes in like this.
How does he, after he fills up his hand?
He closes it, and and then he puts it on the fire. Or he puts in the kli shadis. Or he went like this instead of doing it like those machines that
Like a
scooper. Yeah, what are they on the street when they dig the sand? So the thing it bangs into it goes this way. So he went the other way. He went like this. He stuck his hand in and he made a scoop this
What's the
way.
difference which way he does it?
Says the Mike, what's going to be the din? Take
What's the question? Well, who cares how he does it?
By the way, the Rambam says in such a case it's going to be kosher. Anyway, take Amara Papa Pshita Li. It's pasha to me, but now he's starting with Malay Chafna, the same thing. When it comes to scooping with both hands, let's say by the flour, you do Malay Chafna, right? So how did you do it? You stuck in your hands in the side of the keli, came up and you brought it together and you took it out. That was Malay Chafna. What did he do? What if he brought it? He did it with the tip of his fingers, and then he brought it together like this. He did it not the normal way. Or minatz dadin. Minatz dadin again means that he brought it in. He brought it. He stuck his fingers. He let it go through his. Here he brings down. He let it go through his fingers, but he didn't do it the normal way. He usually it's like this. He scoops it up. No, he brought it in and in it. He put it together and he made it into a scoop. Mao, what's the din? Or chaf mezul bezul, or he took a full hand here and a full hand here, takes it out, and then he puts his hands together. Oh, I have a full scoop now. So he says, "Give him zu."
This is back to
Yeah.
Not about mincha.
Here he's talking about by Ketaitis. Chafnov was by Ketaitis, yes. So Mloi Chafnov is by the Ketaitis. So if he took one handful, another handful, and then he puts it together, so what's going to be the din? Take it. Okay. But Papa is the kasha. Dafke lekains bedafne the mana. If they did the kmitza, right, now he has to put it into the kli shares. So instead of putting it on the bottom of the kli shares, he stuck it to the side of the wall in the kli shares to be mekadosh the kaimetz. Says he made the kmitza, right?
Talking about the Ketaitis,
Now you have to sanctify it with kli shares. So when he put it into
Ketaitis, you mean?
not the kmitza, the kmitza,
Okay.
and he stuck the kmitza to the side wall.
From what is the kmitza? From
He took from the son of the mincha from the Silas.
That's not Tayyas.
Well, we're talking about the mincha. He did a
It
kmitza.
doesn't say what he's talking about. He jumps into a question.
When you talk about kaimetz, chafna, like chafna is k'teides. When you're talking about kmitza, it's talking about from the son of mincha, of flour. He made a kmitza and he went to the kli and he stuck it in the kli shadas on the side wall. So the mother, what's going to be the din? Or taikli beina? Do we need it? It has to be inside the kli. Says the mother, on the side wall where he placed the vayikah, there is. Or it has to be in the kli, the normal way you put it down. It's on the bottom of the kli. Now you don't put it on the wall. When you want to place something in the kli, you don't put it on the side of the wall. You put it down in the bottom of the kli. So he didn't do it the regular anocha. Teiko. Okay. Let's say you have a stand, like you have the Eliyahu Hanavi case, and it's a stick, and then it has another on the bottom, but it also has, if you turn it upside down, the cup, it has an indentation.
That's like the hat.
Like the hat. Very good. It's going in my head. It's like the hat story that I told you. With the mashka.
Yeah.
You never heard of that story? Okay. They were selling mashka on Bower Street. All the drunkens are there. 25 cents as much as you want.
Right.
So the two drunkens got together. Drunkards got together and they got 25 cents. He comes into the store and he says, "Give me all the mashka you can give me." He said 25 cents. Here it is. You got to come with your own vessels. Takes off his hat. And he says, "Okay, fill it up." He says, "Any more?" He says, "Sure." Over here. Comes back outside. He says, "That's it, you got?" He says, "No, I got over here." Ended up with nothing. So over here, you take the cup, you turn it upside down. You understand? You have a little scoop, so you put it. So we want to know if he stuck the kmitza over there. What's going to be the din? Says the Indian is to place it in walls of a kli. Well, you have, even if you turn it upside down, you have the walls of the kli. Oi, Domo, perhaps, Kitikuna. You need the Hanacha should be in a kli, in a normal kli, in a normal way. But like, in that it's not. Teiko, teach me that's good.
Normal questions.
Okay. In fact, you want to get to the Hu'esa. How does one do it? He says, Poishet, meaning the Kmitza, Poishet es be'oisav, al pas yodei. He, again, like we said before, he's Poishet his whole hand, goes all the way to the bottom. Not so small, all the way to the bottom. Sagt the Gemara, Riba, Shamna, what's if he added too much oil? Oy chisa Shamna, or it was missing. Oy chisel of anasa, or it's missing from the spices. Psul, it's going to be possible. In fact, what does it mean that the oil was too much? Rabbi Elazar said, that it was mafresh 2 lugin, and normally it's 1 lug, and here is mar of 2 lugin. But if it was 1.5 lug, so I would say it's bottle. He says over here, the svara in Ribui, why won't it be possible if he added a little bit? Because it'll be bottle, he says. Mishum shekim she'Hashem ro'y yizol kol shem yotez shir shalem bottle hu l'shem ha'mitzvah mincha. I'll say it's bottle if it's just 1.5. But if it's 2, then I'll say it's like 2 minchas. In fact, you might have a look. What do you have to say that way? Say keep going the other b'shem and the chulin or b'shem and the chaverta. Say that there was a mixture, not a whole new look. Say the way it's one of the ways that it could become possible if it was shaman from a different mincha, or it was a shaman chulin. Says you want to chitem shaman the chulin, shaman the chaver to lay possible, and if you're going to say that if shaman of chulin or shaman from another mincha gets mixed into this shaman, is not going to be possible. Maskal Avzut. So Avzut says. Yes, thank you. Avzut asked that question. If you're going to say that the shemen chulin and the shemen that was set aside only for another mincha got mixed with this one, it's not going to pass the mincha. Minchas chayte, the possible of the shemen. A minchas chayte, you remember a mincha that a sinner brings, he cannot beautify it with oil. He cannot have anything. It has to be just flour. Hey, how are you going to find that there should be a puzzle? What shaman could be possible? If it's the shaman that you designated for minchas chayta halesla, we say, hey, this mincha doesn't need shaman, and if he designated this shaman for the minchas chayta, there's no kedusha. This shaman has a din shaman chulin because minchas chayta no shaman. We the chulin u'the chaverta. If it's not just shaman chulin, it's mixed with shaman from another mincha. You said just before, it's not going to be possible. The amrit daflish la shaman. If you're going to say that he separated shaman, keeping the less shaman klal chulin. Oh, we just said that. This is you have to omit this bracket. So what do we see by minchas chayta? That shaman chulin and shaman that was designated for another mincha, if you add it to a minchas chayta, it does pass the mincha. So you can't say it doesn't. So why didn't we learn that was the psul? Why do we have to learn that he poured a whole new shaman, lug of shaman to make it possible? Say simple. He had a little bit of shaman, but it was shaman designated for a different mincha. Says what would Abelazar loy mebayu kamad. Abelazar was saying loy mebayu, mean like loy zu afsu. Loy mebayu the chulum the chavet the pasul. If it's for sure going to be pasul if it was shaman that was designated for another carbon, it's going to pasul mincha because of too much shaman, because it doesn't belong to this mincha. So for sure it's called a tosefes to pasul it. Aval he fish losh they lugin. But if he separated a second look for this mincha, since each lug is on its own, is fit to be used for this mincha. He just did 2 lugim for this mincha, but each lug is zirali. Emalei lives. I would say it shouldn't be possible.
What, they were separated?
He had 2 separate lugim.
2 separate cups?
2 separate cups or pitchers, and each one was for the same mincha. So since each lug could be kosher for on its own, so I'll say it's kosher. It shouldn't be possible. Kamash Mallah, no. Abelazar says even such a eifin, the mincha is possible, since he designated more oil for this mincha than it was required.
More than 1.5.
More, two. He did two.
No,
1.5 will be possible. Yeah, will be kosher
more than
because it will be a
1.5.
bottle, right? How does Abelazar know this din? If Shemen was designated for the two lugan of Shemen was designated for the same mincha that's going to be possible because of Ribu Shemen. Where do we see that? Our Mishnah, you see, the Mishnah says Shamna. He added Shamna to that same carbon. Listening, Ribul Hashem, he should have said it was Mabes Tam Shemen. Why Shamna? Allah Kamashman, Afagav the Hifishla. Even though he designated for this same mincha Shnei Lugim, and you could say each lug on its own would have been kosher, so we say, but since he did too much, it's possible. Chisel Veinasa, if he was missing from the spices. What does it mean missing? He was missing from a molik in the ingredients of the sarei of mincha. You have to put a kmitza in that mix, a kmitza of spices, a full kmitza of spices. So
There was no measurements, everything was in the hand.
in the hand for the spices. For the flour was a sarei. For the flour of the mincha.
You didn't make a kamitza on salmon. You made a kamitza.
No, you move the levena al atzad. That's Rashi Chumash, and then he made the kmitza with the besides. But you did put into the mixture a full kmitza of ketayos. So let's say let's say when he made the kmitza, there was only one kayat left of spice in the holy sanin, psula al shnei kratin. But if there were two pieces of spices, then it's kshera. Two particles, then it's kosher. Even if there's one spice left of the whole mincha, if he does the kmitza, kshera, it's kosher. Pachs mikan psula, but less than one spice is possible. In fact, we're turning the daf. Sponsored by. Okay. In fact, you about Tanya learned in the Baisa. Kaimetz ulavana. Shachasa kolshu. If there was a kaimetz ulavana, it was a kmitza, and there was levina shachasa kolshu that was missing a drop from the whole kmitza of the spice of the particles of spices. Puzzle. So you see, you cannot be missing anything from the shear. How could you say that even one kairat or two particles is good enough? It says the whole kmitza has to be there. It says you want to kairat levana shachasa kolshu puzzle. You have to learn. It's not kmitza. Take out the word kmitza and put in the word kairat. That a kairat levana that was missing from that last kairat, from that last particle, was missing from that a kolshu, then it's possible. If you want, I can tell you a different answer. He says by levina that comes together with the mincha, then that levina you don't need the whole kmitza there. It's coming with a mincha. So if it comes with a mincha, so even if you only are left with one spice, after you make the kmitza, that's fine. But if you're bringing a carbon only from levina, and you started with a kmitza levina, right? You can't say, okay, I'm left with this for the carbon, one particle. It doesn't work. If that's the whole carbon, you have to have the full kmitza of kayat, of the levina.
Not kamitza. It's a course. It's called a course.
Kayat means one particle. The shear, but the shear of the levina that you needed was a whole kmitza of levina.
Had a whole handful.
We just said it before. Here, look. Here, one second. I had it before. That was a kmitza full of spices. Yeah. Levina.
How do you make a kamitza on spices?
What's the
Spices
problem?
is not like flour. It's
The
spice.
shear was a whole kmitza of spices. Okay?
To put it in the mincha.
And they put it into the sudden of the mincha. Okay. Sagt jemand, Amar Rav Yitzchak, Amar Rav Yitzchak, Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav
Take
Yechon.
pictures next time.
Okay. Amar Rav Yitzchak, Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav
You
Yechon.
have a photographer?
Rabbi Yitzchak, Rabbi Yosef said the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Sholish machlokes badava. There's three shitas. Rabbi Meir, who says, who stop Mishnah's Hameya, Sava kaimetz b'tchila. You need a full kaimetz of levina right at the beginning of the Haveda of the Mincha, before you do the Kmitza, and then you make a Kmitza. The kaimetz b'seif. And so too, you have to have a full kaimetz at the end of the Haveda, at the time when you're burning the kmitza of the flour. You have to have the full shear of levina, a full kmitza. In the Sarein, there has to be left over the full shear of levina. You cannot be missing from the kmitza of levina when you're doing the kmitza of the flour when you're burning it. Right at the beginning when you do the kmitza, you have to have the full amount of levina, and sai, when you're burning it, you still have to have the full kmitza of levina. That's Abmeya. The Rabbi Yehuda Sava Kaimetz B'tchila. At the beginning, you have to have the whole shear of levina when you make the kmitza. Ushnei krat b'seif. But when you have to burn the kmitza of the seivus in the fire, even if you have 2 particles of levina at the end, it got lost. Somebody had a good time. Okay. I don't know. Rabbi Shimon, Sava Kaimetz B'tchila. Everybody holds at the beginning. When you do the kmitza, you have to have the full shear of levina. That the only thing, one particle is enough at the end. Okay?
When you say particle, how much is the particle?
One piece. And that was Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yehuda said 2 pieces. Says and they all 3 learn out from the same pasuk. The whole levena that was on the mincha. That you have to have the whole levena throughout the whole aveda of the mincha, from the beginning till the end. Rabbi Yehuda Sava kol. When it says kol, it's mashma afilu chat kairet. Even if at the end you only have 1 kairet, at the end of the aveda, when you have to burn it, the kmitza, 1 particle is enough. But then it says the word ve'es kol, so ve'es comes to balat abbas kairet achet, that you need to set another kairet. That's Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shimon says eis loy darish. You only darish in kol, and that's why 1 kairet is enough at the end of the aveda. There's a machlekes by levina that comes only if it's a levina that comes with the mincha. Together, that's where the 3-way machlekes existed. If somebody's bringing just a carbon levina, so there has to be a full share.
What kind of carbon?
We learned before. You can have a carbon levina, you can have a carbon shaman.
But what does the person want to bring the levina?
He made a neder to bring levina. So there's the shear of levina is malay kaimetz. There you need side at the beginning, side at the end, the full shear. Zag the Gemara, Lahachi Itzich, and Rabbi Yochanan explains the Makar Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Shimon that why is there a difference between levina with a mincha, levina that's brought on its own? Because it says Asher ala mincha ve'is kol ala levina. Where does it say the word ve'is kol? When it's a levina brought with a mincha, the bahadei mincha in. If there it says only if it's together with a mincha, then it's ace kol. Either according to Rabbi Yehuda, ace is 1 kairet and kol is a 2nd particle, and according to Rabbi Shimon, he's not dashing ace, so it's only kol. Was only by levina that comes with a mincha. The same like we said before. Al b'levina, now he's bringing a different chiddush. Al b'levina abba b'bezichin. But now, b'bezichin, there were 2 spoons of ketores in front of the shulchan. When they burned the 2 spoons of ketores on the mizbeach, then the lechem mishnah is given a mutter.
They also took along the levina.
Yeah, levina is the ketores. So they have 2 spoons of ketores.
The bezichin was
The bezichin was filled with levina, with spices. Everybody holds that you needed 2 mitzvahs at the beginning and the end. You cannot have anything missing from the bezichin. So you want to pshita, it's self-understood. So you want to maldatem, it's not self-understood. Because why is it self-understood? Because over there it doesn't say the word kol to tell you can have less. And for the Yemana, no, I would have thought it's connected to the Lechem Mishnah. Kasher al hamincha dami. I would say it's like a levena that's coming with the mincha. Kamash malan. No, that it's not part of the. It's not. It's bezichen are separate. It's like.
Therefore, how much is allowed?
No, you have to have the full amount. You cannot be missing. Sagt die Mother, Pligi, but Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha, we have a different machlekes. Chad, a machlekes, B'lovay Habayim Amincha, B'lovay Habayim, if they ask me to be Akol, Kemes with Chilek, Kemes with Seif. That's one day that says there nobody argues like we learned till now. But now he's bringing a new day. Just like you had a machlekes, if you, at the end of the Avodah you can have less Levina when you're burning. If it's with the minchas, so too the machlekes, even if you bring a kam Levina itself. Zakti Mishnah Chisa Levina. So if you're missing from the spices, says the Gemara, how yaseh. But what's if in the mincha there was extra?
Missing when?
If there was missing at the beginning, before the kmitza, okay? So he says it's possible. Oh, Yosef, but what's if there were extra? Kshedo would be kosher. In fact, you want about Tanya Yosef Psula. We learned the famous Yosef is possible. And you, from the Mishnah's, you could be Medaik, only Chaser is possible. Yosef is Mashman's kosher. It's talking about that he separated two kmitzas of Levina. That was the Ribui. The Ribui was that he did two kmitzas. He says that the case was that he took two kmitzas for the same mincha, or two kmitzas. No, everything with the right, but he had two, he did twice. And one of them he lost before he actually made the kmitza from the Sadeh. He got lost before he made the kmitza. Says that's fine. But but if it got the second scoop of Levina got lost only after he made the kmitza hukbu. So there was already, when he made the kmitza of sailors, there were already two at that time, which is possible. It was actually possible. If he did four kmitzas of Levina and there was only two bezichin, two of them got lost before he removed the bezichin. Loy hukmu. If it got lost before he removed the bezichin to burn it, and the other two bezichin got lost, because the kmitza, the bezichin, taking it off is the kmitza. So if two got lost before he took it off, it's before the kmitza. So it's kosher because when he actually took it off, there was only two. But when he took off the two, then the other two, only after he took off the two to bring to the fire, the other two got lost, then it's possible. I know it's the exact same thing as the previous case before Kmitza or after Kmitza. So as you about the time, I would have thought the Berir claimants Dida Kina Sheiki is man Lepeka Commander Pikadamia. I would have said, look, the Bazichin it's as if he took it off. We said once this man comes to take it off, it's as if it's taken off. So therefore, when the four were there together, the second there was four, and this man came to take off the two, even though he didn't take off the two, I should say it's possible, because it's as if he took off the two, and the other two were still there, even though it got lost before he actually took it off. The Mashmalan comes in and Gemara teaches us, no, as long as he didn't actually take it off, and it got lost the other two, and then he takes it off, it's going to be kosher.